This was not a ceremonial visit, no red carpets, no symbolic handshakes, no headlines about diplomatic statements. Instead, President Isaias Afwerki and his delegation were taken somewhere far more revealing, into factories, into industrial zones, into logistics corridors, into the machinery that powers one of Africa's largest economies. Because in today's world, national power is no longer measured only by armies or politics. It is measured by what a country can manufacture, what it can transport, and what it can control. And as Eritrea's delegation moved through some of Egypt's most important industrial and logistical facilities, a larger question began to emerge. Was this simply an industrial tour, or a glimpse into the future economic architecture of the Red Sea region? Stay with us until the end, because what happened at Ain Sokhna Port may reveal why this visit matters far beyond Egypt and Eritrea. The first stop was Gypto Pharma. At first glance, it appears to be a modern pharmaceutical complex, but inside it represents something much larger: automated production lines, advanced quality control systems, large-scale manufacturing capacity. This is not merely about medicine, it is about national resilience. The COVID era taught governments around the world a painful lesson. Countries that cannot produce critical medical supplies become vulnerable during global crises. Supply chains break, imports stop, prices surge, lives are affected. Egypt's answer has been straightforward: build domestic capacity, reduce dependency, increase self-sufficiency. For Eritrea's delegation, this was more than a factory visit. It was a close look at how strategic industries can strengthen national security without firing a single shot. Because modern sovereignty increasingly begins inside factories, not at borders. The next stop revealed an even bigger picture: the Suez Canal Industrial Zone. This is where geography becomes economic power. Every year, thousands of ships pass through the Suez Canal, a route connecting Europe, Asia, Africa, and the Middle East. For decades, nations benefited from the canal's transit revenues, but Egypt is now pursuing something bigger. Instead of simply allowing goods to pass through, it wants to manufacture them, export them, and profit from every stage of the process. Factories are positioned beside logistics hubs, warehouses connect directly to ports. Transportation networks feed production centers. Everything is connected, everything is integrated, and that integration creates a powerful advantage. Products can move from production lines to global markets with remarkable speed. The message is clear: in the 21st century, strategic geography alone is not enough. Countries must transform geography into economic value. For Eritrea, another nation located on a critical Red Sea corridor, the implications are difficult to ignore. The delegation then visited steel, cement, and fertilizer facilities. This is where industrial strength becomes visible: towering furnaces, heavy machinery, continuous production. Millions of tons of material feeding national development projects. Steel and cement rarely attract headlines, yet they build every highway, every bridge, every industrial park, every port, every city skyline. Without them, development remains a blueprint. With them, development becomes reality. Officials explained how industrial production is coordinated with infrastructure expansion. Roads, ports, housing projects, energy facilities. All connected. Then came another critical sector: fertilizer production. Food security is often discussed as an agricultural issue, but behind every successful agricultural system stands industrial support. Modern farming depends on industrial inputs, which means food security and industrial capacity are deeply linked. The lesson was simple: economic resilience starts long before products reach consumers. At Egypt's basic industrial corporation, the foundation of the entire system became visible. Chemicals, raw materials, industrial inputs, energy-related products, the sectors most people never see. Yet without them, nothing else functions. This is where Egypt's long-term strategy becomes clear: reduce import dependence, strengthen domestic production, increase industrial self-sufficiency, and create supply chains capable of withstanding global disruptions. Around the world, nations are rediscovering a reality many had forgotten: dependence can become vulnerability. Resilience requires production. Production requires industry. Industry requires planning, and planning requires decades of investment. That is precisely what Egypt appears to be building. Then came the most strategically significant stop: Ain Sokhna Port. This is where factories connect to the world, Massive container terminals, advanced cargo systems, high-capacity logistics networks. Every product manufactured inland eventually reaches places like this. And from here, goods travel across continents. Ports do more than move cargo. They shape trade. They influence investment. They attract industry. They become gateways of economic power. Officials outlined major expansion projects designed to increase capacity and strengthen Egypt's role in global supply chains. And this raises perhaps the most important question of the entire visit. As global trade routes evolve, who will become the dominant logistics hubs of the Red Sea? The answer could shape regional economics for decades. The final stage of the visit offered a different perspective. Egypt's new administrative capital, futuristic government complexes, smart infrastructure systems, modern transportation networks, advanced urban planning. This is not simply a new city. It is an attempt to redesign how government operates, an effort to integrate governance, infrastructure, technology, and planning into a single framework. The message here was not industrial, it was institutional. Because economic transformation ultimately depends on effective governance, and governance increasingly depends on systems. Across every location visited, one theme appeared again and again: integration. Industry connected to infrastructure, infrastructure connected to logistics, logistics connected to trade, trade connected to national development. Egypt is not building individual projects. It is building an interconnected economic ecosystem, and that may be the most important takeaway from President Isaias Afwerki's visit. No major agreements were announced, no dramatic declarations were made. Yet something significant still happened. A model was studied, a system was examined, and a strategic conversation may have quietly begun, because the future balance of power around the Red Sea may not be decided by speeches. It may be decided by factories, by ports, by supply chains, and by the nations that learn how to connect them all. The real question is no longer who controls territory. The real question is who controls production, logistics, and trade, and that answer may shape the next chapter of the Red Sea region. Thanks for watching.